kind of dark. Hello, everybody. Hold potentially. Yes, I will hold potentially inappropriate messages. If you are here, say hello so we can see you. Carol, thank you so much. We're so glad that you love the podcast. They're definitely a passion project of ours. Bringing the light in. We are currently in Arkansas. Cool. We lost 5 people. We were super boring at the beginning. We're currently in Arkansas. I'm going to just see if I can make this full screen. We are in Arkansas. Arkansas.
Okay, we're in Arkansas. Just want to make sure people.
Rogers, Arkansas. And figured it was time to go live. So we don't want to make these super long. So we're going to kind of jump right in. If you randomly are stumbling upon this, we are For All Seasons. We are from Southern California.
A rock band.
But we're currently in
Arkansas.
For a youth event. And we're doing these monthly Q&As to elaborate on the concept project that we're doing throughout the year. If you've never heard of it, really briefly, it's just releasing a song a month, and every song correlates with a season of life. Get your foot out of there. Every song correlates with the season of life. January was about a season of seeing, meaning when we see God at work, we see his blessing. And the song that we released was called Every Good Thing. We also released a music video, which is here on our YouTube, and 2 podcasts. One that is behind the song, the creation of the song. And then the second is more specifically on a season of seeing with a special guest. So these Q&As are kind of an open forum to answer questions about the past month, whether it's the song or the music video or the podcast or about the specific season, as well as any other random questions that you might have. We had some questions that were pre-submitted through our Patreon as well as on Instagram. So we'll jump into those. But if you have a question, thank you, Jorge. And Carol said, thanks for sharing the original first verse of Every Good Thing. Powerful words. Why am I surprised? Will they be resurrected later? Perhaps during the season of waiting. They won't. I'm sorry. Maybe in another song completely at another time. But go ahead. If you have questions for us, put them in the comments. We're going to dive into some of these questions and then come back to those to kind of give people some time. But if you want any further elaboration on any of these, feel free to put that in there too. So to start us off, we have a question from Mark Pickett, who is one of our patrons. He said, with all the success that you guys have had thus far, I would guess that there has been some failure along the way. Can you share how you dealt with it and what you learned from it? I think that could be a season 2. Not any of us would sign up for it, but certainly it's a reality of life to have failure. So, do you guys do you want to kick that off?
I'm trying to think of it. I think maybe the first one that comes to mind for me is, to answer the first part of the question, yes, we've definitely experienced seasons of failure. And a lot of our journey is experiencing those seasons, but just continuing to move forward, trusting that God will provide and light the path in front of us. And if he wants us to keep going, then we will. Something I thought of is just times where we're leading on stage and I guess it's a failure to be genuinely engaged in what's happening, and failing to, I guess, just have a good perspective on what we're trying to accomplish in a room. And I think there's been seasons where they've been pretty dry for me, and I have to kind of navigate, like, what does it look like to lead worship from stage with people when I don't really feel like being on stage, or I don't really feel like I'm connecting with the words of the songs or the music. And there's been times where, I'm way more concerned about how I look versus what's happening on the inside. And so I think for me, like one of the ways I was able to get out of one of those seasons is to be honest and welcome somebody into that. So just like as simple as telling my wife that that's how I was feeling, kind of feeling fake on stage. And so, that led down, a couple of days of just like praying about it and asking God like why that's happening and what I can do. And in the coming weeks, God spoke to me through some sermons that I listened to and gave me some really great perspective on how to navigate that. So.
Really briefly, I think there's some failure that has taught us that whatever we were striving for was like not that important, and it helps shift our perspective. Like, for example, we had 2 songs go to radio last year, and they both kind of, failed, if you wanted to call it that, according to the industry. But I think it gave us a new perspective of like, what are we really doing this for? And it reminded us that the end goal and what we're doing is not to be on the radio. The end goal is to write music that glorifies God and draws people closer to Him. So I think it's all about perspective in seeing failure. So thanks, Mark, for that question. The next was actually, it came in twice, from Natalie and Becky off of Instagram. They asked how long we've been a band. Johnny?
We've been a band for 11 years now.
The 3 of us have been playing together for about 11 years.
That's so crazy.
Before all seasons.
6 years?
2013.
13.
Yes. So we've been for all seasons for 6 years, but it feels like it's been forever.
Yeah.
Not in a bad way, in a good way.
Yeah. Next question.
Okay. This one, let's get to some questions about Every Good Thing specifically. If you haven't heard Every Good Thing, I will put the link I'll do it at the end. I'll make sure to put the link to the song in the comments. But Katie, off of Instagram, who's also one of our patrons, she asked, how did the pinball analogy play out in the writing process of Every Good Thing? If you follow us on Instagram, earlier at the beginning of the month, whenever we announce the next season, like the week of the new release, we'll kind of give the backstory of the song. And in that first few days, we posted something that talked about some friends of ours, and the wife of the couple had kind of given us this vision from the Lord of a pinball machine. And long story short, it was just God letting us know that He's taking care of us. And then shortly after, through this vision of a pinball machine, God just confirmed that by us receiving a phone call that someone was going to help supplement our income. And so I feel like it definitely put a big part in the writing process. I don't think we ever thought like, let's incorporate a pinball machine into the lyrics by any means, but that whole mentality of God taking care of us was a huge part of the writing process. I mean,
it's not specifically the pinball, but like the vision that she gave was a huge part of it.
Yeah. Alina from Instagram asked, what is the meaning of Emily falling into the pool in the music video?
So we've had some discussion about this.
Actually, can you incorporate that also into Jorge's question? He said, can you please explain the people doing things with no physical objects in the music video for Every Good Thing and why they are visible after? So we'll kind of combine those 2 questions together.
So the video is essentially this idea of Emily is the main character, and she's going throughout life and is in a season of just not seeing the everyday good things that we have. And I think there's a lot of things we take for granted that I think we can all agree that we have, like breath and senses that we can use. And so, but she's going and walking throughout life, and a very easy, visible way to show that she was not seeing God was just
or seeing the blessings.
Is having people operate without things in their hands. And so we have the father and son playing basketball without a basketball, people at a coffee shop drinking coffee without cups in their hands.
The lawnmower.
The lawnmower. Kind of just those things are ways to kind of depict that she's not seeing.
And they're really simple things that we wouldn't exactly say like, oh, these are major blessings, like, you know, God providing finances, but realizing that something as simple as having a lawnmower, meaning I have a yard, like that's something that we can be grateful for.
Yeah. And when we thought about this concept, we had to have something in the video that essentially snapped her out of
like a wake up moment
of this not seeing. And we thought about this idea of when people pour water, like when you're sleeping, and that whole visual of someone pouring water on someone when they're sleeping, they all of a sudden wake up. There's kind of that thought process of that, like, oh, like she essentially like is shifted, and she like people have said it's baptism, which
we were like, wow, good idea. We hadn't thought of that.
More power to you.
But it literally
That's
was
the beauty of art. You can interpret it however you want.
it literally was just like a wake up call. And the moment that she fell in the pool and came out of it, it almost like she was awakened from.
And it's realizing that everything was there the whole time. I was just missing the blessings.
So that's why you see it afterwards, but it was always there. The video was just shot through the lens of her viewpoint.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
One of the funny things about shooting that video was that it was an all-day process, and the pool scene was the last thing that we were doing that day. And when we showed up at the house, we were told that the pool heater wasn't working.
So and it was like 45 degrees outside.
It's 45 degrees outside, and it was like the pool temp was 50.
It had to be in the 40s.
Maybe 40.
So Emily was a trooper.
It was so.
Did it anyway.
If you go back and watch the video now, like my face when I come out of the water
is legitimately
me being freezing.
If you can hear the real audio, she's like cold laughing.
And they're like, just remember when you come out of the water, like you're like, oh my gosh, you see. But all that's going through my mind is I am so cold. I cannot do this right now.
Did we post it behind the scenes, or
we did post a short behind the scene little clip on Instagram?
See her in a blanket by the fire. That's really why.
Because she's legitimately freezing.
Yeah. Jasmine asked, "What's your new song called?" And it's Every Good Thing. That's the one we just released. The new one that comes out next Friday. You gotta wait for that. Wait a couple days. Let's answer some questions off of here. So Mason, if you're still on, can you clarify when you ask what's your favorite song, if you mean like one of ours that we've written or just in general? Let's go. So Josh, who are some of your favorite teachers, authors, or preachers that you follow these days in an era where Christianity and theology can be all ends of the spectrum? This is not a loaded question. He made sure to clarify. We were actually just having a conversation about this, not which pastors and teachers, but just Christianity in general, how it just seems like it's going all over the place.
Like the spectrum is just so
wide.
Wide, yeah.
And crazy. To be honest, like I'm not really like on the bandwagon of like following like pastors or teachers. Like there are books that I read that I really enjoy. But I guess I just like Johnny and I go to a small house church community, and I just like invest my time there and conversation of like what we believe.
I feel like I really enjoy / we really enjoy that time and like the messages that we hear there and enabling those to have conversations throughout the week versus
and kind of just like taking whether it's a book that I read or a message that I hear and then just like comparing it back to scripture, rather than like choosing pastors that I like, oh, I really resonate with them. I don't know.
It's not a bad thing.
And it's not a bad thing to have like certain pastors that you really resonate with or that you enjoy their teaching.
I think I have like, certain teachers that I, love to listen to their podcasts or watch their videos. Like Francis Chan has been one of those guys that's consistently been there since like 2006. I don't know if he does much podcasting or teaching nowadays, but I've definitely been like
He's doing stuff up in San Francisco, like a lot of church
yeah.
stuff.
And some of his books have been really instrumental in my life. Another, like, more recently, like, I read Ragamuffin Gospel by Brendan Manning. That's his name, right?
Brendan Manning, yeah.
Brendan Manning. And that was a really great read, really great book.
What's the other one?
Dangerous Wonder book?
Oh, Dangerous Wonder is really good. That's Mike Yaconelli.
That was a really great book, especially if you're a creative or, whether you are or not, but as a creative, I really benefited from just that childlike wonder, being encouraged to access that.
Josh said, that's great. I get it. Any books that have shaped your music? I know we both really like The War of Art.
Yeah, War of Art.
I guess I wouldn't say it shapes our music, but it shapes how we create music, I guess.
My rudiment book from when I was 13 years old.
I think, like, we all went to Bible University, and so we did get a lot of, like, biblical training as far as, like, Bible classes, because at that school you minor in Bible. And so I think, like, from the beginning we've had an emphasis on trying to incorporate a lot of biblical truth into the lyrics that we write, especially if we're writing a more, like, church song versus something to just listen to. So I would say, like, a lot of the stuff we read in school definitely shaped that.
Agreed. Let's see, we've got some other ones. We have someone watching from France, and it's 10 p.m. there.
All right.
That's amazing. Is your name actually Fame, or is that just your username? That's our question to you. But his question was, how was the shooting of Every Good Thing? Crazy.
It was crazy. It was a long day.
It was fun, though.
It was super fun.
We had a lot of our friends in the video, so there was a lot of...
Pretty much every person you see is just one of our friends that we coaxed into doing it.
So, and even ex-band members, so that was super fun, just reconnecting and having people to laugh with during video.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was really fun. Our first ever, like, concept video, and we felt really great about it when we were done. We also just wanted it to be, like, silly and fun, and I feel like we did that. Okay, so Mason clarified one of your songs. What's, like, one of your favorite songs of our own? And
just listen to it or play.
However you want to answer it. And what's the meaning of it to you?
My favorite song that we've written is Clarity, and it's off the Clarity EP. Reason being, it's a deeply personal song. I absolutely love the music side of it. Like, I feel like on that project it was a good, like, melting pot of everything we were wanting to accomplish musically at the time. And what it means to me is just the premise of the song is this idea that when we're in a season of unknown or we don't know what's coming next, that whether we get an, like, black and white answer or God speaks to us or not, the clarity that we're really after is God himself. And so that was kind of a learning moment in my life.
I'll say mine. I can't really talk about much because it comes out in March. But I will say that I think that song is... That
one might top Clarity for me. I don't know yet.
I don't know if you're allowed.
It's very different.
I don't know if
just to give you something to look forward to.
I don't know if we're allowed to talk about it, but March's song for me is, I think... I can't really talk about why it's my personal meaning because...
It would give everything away.
But there is a lot of personal meaning to it, and I love it. So I'll answer that one in March.
And I think songs change constantly for me. Favorites, I do love Clarity, but I have this really soft spot for our next song that we'll release. I remember getting the final mix back and sending a text message to the guy who co-wrote it with us, Benji Cowart, and just telling him that this song just felt like so innately us. It's definitely more congregational, but it stems from the story of one of my best friends, and also, like, to watch the journey of the song being created. This was one of those ones that took like 2 to 3 years to write, and now to see, like, the perfect timing of it being released, even with my story and just all those things. And it's just like straight scripture in the chorus. It's really, really special to me. So let's see. Carol, after you release all the songs this year, will there be physical CD or is it all electronic?
I think we'd like to compile them
Yeah.
at the end of the year. Maybe it'll be vinyl or something.
We just have to know that like people like you will buy them because nobody really has CD
We're
players
basing on
anymore.
pre-orders.
Right. I mean, we definitely will have a physical copy.
Yeah.
But it's crazy because people don't buy them much anymore. Maybe vinyl though. Vinyl would be really fun. Josh, thanks for your honesty. He said he loves our honesty in music and worship. That's why all the questions about books. I resonate with you guys when I was so burnt out on the norm. Mm-hmm. It can be hard, you know. Let's see. Jorge loves physical CDs. You know what? We're going to print them then for you. Just for you. Let's go to one of the questions we got online. Krista, Becky, and CD Daniels 24 on Instagram all asked the same question. What is your favorite Christian song? And this is really hard to answer.
So hard.
I can't answer ultimate favorite questions like that. I can give you a favorite. Anyone who wants to go first?
I'm gonna look at Spotify real quick.
I'll say that there was a song a while ago by a band called Jars of Clay.
We're doing like all-time favorite songs. Okay,
I'm going for that first. I'll hit on the other more recent after. But first,
that's great.
There's a song called "Take My World Apart," and
Dude, that song is good.
Love that.
Is that the one you let us sing spell?
That's still so good.
Pushed for that one.
So long ago.
So long ago.
All right, I'm gonna give two.
Okay.
Whenever I am wanting music that will just kind of put me at peace.
You're gonna steal mine.
Well, we'll just do it together because here's the thing: is we're married, so we listen to a lot of the same music.
Sure.
Or if I even know Emily is in a place where she just needs some music that's just like calming, I will put on "Green Pastures" by David Balash, and it is so good.
Yeah.
His project is just scripture put to music, and
It's so good.
The Green Pastures song is just unreal. It's so good. And then recently, Danny Goki put out a song that the chorus just feels so good.
It's massive.
And the melodic line has a nice little cadence to it. And Danny, if you're watching,
Danny, if you're out there,
Mr. Goki,
you got a fan.
hi. My mom, myself, my family, my dog loves you.
True.
True. That's your way of saying shut up.
No. I'll just say. Oh, Katie says, "Is it? Haven't seen it yet."
Oh.
Love that song.
I didn't even say this.
He didn't say the name.
Yeah, it is. Haven't seen it yet. That song is unreal.
And I'll just say this is a whole record, but Stephanie Gretzinger's Out of Hiding record. So good. Similar to the David Baloche record.
What's that last song on her new record?
Blackout.
Oh, yeah. That's a good
Good.
song, too.
It's a good song. Okay, let's see.
What's your
We have
name?
A couple minutes left. Oh, this is Johnny. I'm Emily. This is Jeff. Those are our names. Guys, I'm just trying to unlock my phone. It is not working. Okay. This is a question from Kayla, who's one of our patrons. She said, you have to sing the same songs countless times, which can become a temporary task. So how do you get your hearts motivated on eternal truths? Man, that's a hard question.
I think for me, not to just jump into it after you said that, but to me, I think it's recognizing like the truths that we're singing to such a big God and big person that in the midst of our redundancy of singing those songs and like Jeff mentioned earlier, just going through motions, being worried about how I look performing rather than what's actually the state of my heart, he can also handle all the junk that comes with that too. And so I think I feel like I've been in moments where I just suck as a human being, and I find myself in a wrong state of mind, or my heart is not in the right place. But I immediately recognize, like, oh God, you're bigger than all these things, and I can literally just believe the truth that I'm seeing in this moment right now, and you still love me, you still look at me the same. And so for me, I think sometimes it's an automatic switch, and sometimes it's a slow progression. But I feel like when I accepted that, I think a couple of years ago, it was a lot easier for me to get to the moment of being present in worship and be at the right state of mind.
Yeah, I think it's a moment by moment thing, where sometimes your mind drifts off, or sometimes you're thinking about stuff at home or whatever. But like every new moment is a moment to reorient. And is that a word?
Reorient?
100%.
Yeah.
Great. To just refocus, and I don't think God's looking at us with like shaking his head or wagging his finger. Like he's just like, he's ready for us to come back. And I think on the other end though, there are things that we can do to prepare. So like making sure that we spend time praying. I know like when we pray, like it just it kind of like reminds me why we're here, why we're doing this, like what the goal is, And I feel like mentally preparing like that is something that if that's what really helps you get focused, then like that's what we can take responsibility and do that as well.
PJ, your question is so perfect.
What is it?
What's your guys' all-time favorite Felice song?
I like Future.
Future for sure.
Future's rad.
Future, no questions asked.
How's the song called? Future.
It's with the guitar line in the front.
Oh. I think I like, is it Streets of Gold? It doesn't do that song live.
I know.
I don't get it. Jordan.
I think because it's not like full band.
Jordan, if you're watching,
yeah, Jordan.
make a change.
First Danny Gokies, second Jordan Felice. Maybe. Okay, let's do one more because we just have a couple more minutes. So Kayla and Julie, who are patrons of ours, which if you don't know what that is, we launched a Patreon at the end of the year, kind of to invite people into this 12-month concept record that we're doing, to help kind of support us make it, but then also a part of helping us make it. And so you get anything from getting the song a week early. So actually some of our patrons that are watching right now already have the song that's coming out on Friday. They got it yesterday. Or like podcasts early, or pre-submitting questions, stuff like that. But yeah, it's just a way for people to support what we do, because the reality is that the music industry is not what it used to be. And we've had many moments in our career where it's like, shoot, how do we keep this thing going? And it's been people that have come alongside us that have said, hey, we believe in what you're doing. Even if it's just like $2, we want you to keep going. And so that is what Patreon is. And they asked this question, but I feel like it's fitting for a lot of people, because there are even some people that say like, hey, I just really can't afford to do the Patreon, but I believe in what you're doing. How can I support you? But their question was, if we aren't able to give more than a certain amount a month right now, are there any other ways that we can help? And honestly, we live in a world of social media, and we've just even been talking about, like, jokingly, the algorithm that, we can have 20,000 people that follow us on Instagram, but I can post one thing about a new song and it only goes to about 3,000 people. So the biggest hurdle is just getting people to know about the music. And so when people within the first week of our song coming out post about it on their story, or post about it on their profile, or whether it's on Facebook, they share the video, whatever it is, that is so, so helpful to us, because it just, punches in data to the little robot that runs everything and says like, oh, great, people like this. We're going to keep showing it to more people. The little robot, he's the boss.
Picturing that little guy.
Yeah. So sharing our music is so helpful. But if you want to know more about Patreon, it's just patreon.com/FA Seasons, and you can kind of see what's offered there. Yeah. Oh, really quick, Victoria, we loved our time in Newfoundland. It was amazing. We want to come back.
We talked a lot about it on one of our podcasts too.
We did.
Highlights of 2018.
There was a whole section about it. But we've hit 30 minutes, and we never want these to go over 30 minutes, just so that they can be brief. For you guys, there were obviously questions submitted that we couldn't get to. We try to keep track of what people are asking so that maybe like the next one we can get to those questions. But we hope that this time is beneficial to you guys. If you have any other questions, feel free to leave them in a comment if it feels like it's a question that we can answer by typing a response. But I did say that we were going to give away some stickers. And I'm also going to post the link to the song. But we, how do I get out of this? There it is. With the sticker, how do I do this? Guys, you're watching me struggle. There we go. Here's the thing. I did not actually think about how to give away the stickers. So I'm going to put Jeff and Johnny just like totally on the spot and say like, guys, how should we give away the stickers?
We should each choose our favorite question in the YouTube link. In the YouTube video.
Or I was going to say like the first 10 people to do blank. To go leave a comment on something.
Download it.
How about this? The first 10
Sounds good.
people to go on Instagram and to post about every good thing in their story, we will send them a sticker. So obviously, because you're in this live stream, you have a leg up on everybody else. And there's 18 of you in here right now. So 8 of you are already going to miss out. Head to Instagram story, post about every good thing. If you go to Spotify and go to the song, they actually give you an option to share it straight to your stories.
We're at 30 minutes.
So first people to do that, we'll get a sticker sent. Our new song comes out on Friday. Tomorrow we start the transition into the new season of life that we're going to discuss. And so with that, we love you guys, and we'll see you later.
Yeah.